to them. And now moving on, as the threat of hunger and food insecurity continues to challenge Africa's development goals, experts are calling for fresh ideas and stronger collaboration to boost agriculture productivity across the continent. In Lagos, academics, policymakers, and development partners gathered for the public presentation of the new research work authored by Professor David Luke, titled How Africa Eats. The study explores how innovative partnerships and smarter government investment can help Africa achieve true food sufficiency. Details in this report. Africa's quest for food sufficiency continues to face tough challenges, from underfunded farming system to poor infrastructure and weak policy. At this gathering in Lagos, where stakeholders are gathered for the public presentation of a new research work and book authored by Professor David Luke, titled How Africa Eats. Professor Luke urged African governments to invest more in agriculture, and not just in words but in action, by funding rural infrastructure, farm machinery inputs, and post-harvest facilities. According to him, Africa holds the potential to become a global agricultural powerhouse if its farmers and researchers are adequately supported. His view is corroborated by Professor Emmanuel Ogukola of the University of Ibadan, who questions the steady decline of agricultural extension services in Nigeria.
There is an African Union program called the Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Plan, the CADAP. And under the CADAP, there is an agreement that African governments should spend not less than 10% of their annual budget to support the agricultural sector. What we found is that only a few countries have ever reached that target. And then also we found that when it comes to private investment, African banks are not really lending to agriculture. We found that bank rates are high. Because of our land tenure system, the communal holding of farmland cannot really be used as collateral for banks. Microcredit, to some extent, is helpful.
There are issues about fighting for land, herders, farmers, clashes, and so on. But it still boils down to the same thing. We are fighting over resources. So that's why I say in this book, yes, you have some answers. But for people like us, this is the beginning. Because for some students, all I will ask them to do is, can you explore this issue of SPS, TPT, CBAM, and forestry regulation? That may be.
For the resident representative of Frederick Ebert Stiftung, FES, Leonard Ostergaard, the message is clear: more dialogue, more research, and more action is all that is required.
So we think that the topic of food security and the impact of climate change on food production, but also opportunities for trade regarding food products, is a very important topic for Africa as a continent, but also Nigeria as a country. And since we have a long-standing relationship with David Luke from LSE, we really thought it's important for him to come to Nigeria to present the results of the study, which has been funded and supported by FES. And we have been in interaction with trade unionists, civil society, but also government and development partners this whole week to advocate for the key insights of the research.
And as the discussions ended, one message echoes through the room: that Africa, and indeed Nigeria, must rise to the challenge of feeding itself.
I will say that yes, the book is very insightful, it's insightful, and it's an irony that Africa, that has a lot of arable land, that has a good weather to be able to produce food and everything, is not suffering this debt of food in food production. And so I think what we will be doing more is having discussion with the various African countries. I will use Nigeria as an example for us to be able to communicate with our government that we need the government to support the farmers, the local farmers, support them in terms of finances, support them in terms of security, support them in terms of giving them the enabling environment that will help them to get their finished products to their commodities that they get to the last person that will use it.
When you talk about food in Africa, what would naturally be of interest to me is how Africa can feed itself. The Africa we want by 2063 should be the one that is able to feed itself, and that means that we must domesticate food production, distribution and consumption. So this is
Undoubtedly, with the right policies, partnerships, and political will, the continent's dream of food sufficiency may finally be within reach. Adenike Oye Ajiboye, Superscreen News.